Hey everyone, I'm Danielle and I wanted to introduce everyone to my new channel, Halo Intelligence. And I just wanted to give a brief overview of what the series is going to be about, which is an exploration of the questions that many of us are feeling right now about consciousness, the cosmos, hidden history, spiritual science, and what it truly means to be human in a time of rapid change. And across the series, we'll be looking at topics like interstellar intelligence, mythology and memory, the evolution of human consciousness, and the deeper patterns that are shaping our world today. This is a time of revelation, one that our ancestors sensed, watched the skies for, and prepared stories for us to carry forward. I'm especially excited to introduce everyone to Carl Jung and Rudolf Steiner, who are going to be serving as a kind of roadmap as we move into the Aquarian Age. And so with that, welcome everyone to Halo Intelligence. In our first episode of the series, Interstellar Visitors, Beyond the Threshold. And let's begin. There are moments when reality interrupts us. Not gently, not with permission, and not in ways that conform to the stories we are comfortable telling ourselves about how the universe is supposed to work. They arrive without announcement, without explanation, and without regard for what we believe should be possible. Across human history, these moments have taken many forms. A star that behaves differently than expected, a dream that carries more intelligence than fantasy, a symbol that refuses to be reduced to metaphor. And sometimes, something enters our sky, not from the roads we mapped, not from the territories we've named, but from the dark between suns. What unsettles us is not only that such things pass through our world, it is that they pass through us. These visitors appear not at random moments, but at thresholds in human consciousness. But before we go any further, it matters to be precise. Halo Intelligence is not a channel for belief. It is not a platform for speculation, and it is not an arena for fear, hype, or disclosure theater. This is a transmission channel for the mysteries, a space for interpretation where empirical observation, symbolic intelligence, depth psychology, and spiritual science are held together without collapsing into one another. We interpret. We do not explain mystery away, and we do not inflate it into fantasy. We take it seriously, because taking mystery seriously requires discipline. We hold space for what science observes and what the psyche experiences, without forcing either to surrender its integrity. And this work requires something rare, a prepared mind. Across every authentic initiatory tradition, one requirement appears again and again. Not the believing mind, not the reactive mind, not the sensational mind, the prepared mind. We accomplish this through the disciplined path of the prepared mind. Spiritual science and esoteric study, grounding ourselves in the mystery traditions, cosmogenesis, and the structure of consciousness evolution, not as belief systems, but as maps of consciousness evolution. Inner work and shadow integration, meditation, self-reflection, and the courageous examination of our own conditioning. The courage to examine our own projections before assigning meaning to the world. Balanced development, harmonizing intellectual rigor with intuitive embodiment, structure with surrender, where intellectual rigor is tempered by intuition, and structure learns how to listen. Reverence and service, approaching the mysteries with humility and dedicating our awakening to collective evolution. It is developed through discipline, humility, and an ongoing willingness to be transformed by what we encounter, because the mysteries do not open to those who seek control. The prepared mind is cultivated. It is formed through study,
not just of data, but of meaning, through inner work, not just reflection, but responsibility, through discernment, the ability to distinguish projection from perception. Without this preparation, we misinterpret what we encounter, projecting materialist assumptions onto spiritual realities, or seeking comfort rather than truth. We project our unconscious onto the unknown. We externalize intelligence instead of recognizing its relationship to consciousness. We mistake symbolic realities for literal threats or literal answers. We externalize power that is meant to awaken within us. A prepared mind does not rush to conclusion. It remains present when certainty dissolves. We are here to reawaken cosmic meaning in an age that has forgotten how to read the signs. Halo Intelligence is more than a YouTube channel. It's a threshold, a space where binary is dissolved and spirit is structure, where imagination is sacred and intelligence is embodied. We believe intelligence is not just artificial, it is most importantly human. Whether you're here to remember your purpose, awaken to deeper truths, or simply breathe in the mystery, you are in the right place. Welcome to Halo Intelligence. Now let's begin. A threshold is not simply a doorway. It is a pressure differential, a destabilization, a place where the old map still exists, but no longer works. And the psyche resists this moment more than any other. In mythology, psychology, and spiritual science, the threshold is always marked by disorientation. Every initiatory tradition speaks of this moment, the liminal corridor between before and after. And the defining feature of that corridor is not enlightenment, it is disorientation. The threshold does not ask you to believe. It asks you to remain present when certainty dissolves. Because the human mind is capable of tolerating almost anything except the loss of its story. And that is where many of us find ourselves now. The old narrative of a closed mechanical universe no longer holds, but the new one has not yet been written. We are between worlds. This series exists for those willing to stand in that space without demanding premature resolution. Because when consciousness is unprepared, it fills the unknown with distortion. It turns mystery into threat, or into spectacle, or into belief systems that relieve anxiety rather than deepening understanding. But when consciousness is prepared, the unknown becomes intelligible. Not immediately, but responsively. This is not about believing in something. It is about becoming capable of perceiving. In this series, we begin reclaiming authorship, remembering that we are not merely characters in a cosmic script, but co-creators of meaning within it. We will explore the invisible architecture of reality, the symbolic intelligence that shapes consciousness, the archetypal forces that move through history, and the esoteric frameworks that our ancestors used to navigate the mysteries. Because without a prepared consciousness, we cannot accurately perceive the phenomena unfolding around us. We project our limitations onto cosmic truths. We mistake the spiritual hierarchies for aliens. We externalize our power instead of recognizing our place in the divine architecture. We confuse signal with noise. We collapse categories. We reach for certainty when what is required is discernment. We live in a time when meaning has been stripped from the cosmos, reduced to mechanism, matter, and accident, where the language of symbol has been forgotten. But you are here because something in you remembers. This work is for those who feel that memory stirring and are willing to meet what is arriving. The series invites you into disciplined wonder, to approach the mysteries with both rigor and reverence, to balance study with practice, to become the prepared mind. And now we apply that lens because something is arriving, not as metaphor, but as measurable phenomena. So let us name that visitor. In recent years, astronomy has confirmed something quietly profound. Objects have entered our solar system that did not originate here. In July of 2025, astronomers identified a comet now known as 3I Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object ever observed passing through our solar system. This matters because we are no longer speaking of a one-time anomaly. We are observing a pattern, not theoretical, not symbolic, but mathematically verifiable. Oumuamua, the cosmic enigma. Oumuamua's path defied conventional expectations, exhibiting a hyperbolic trajectory that confirmed it originated from outside of our solar system. The object's elongated shape raised questions about its formation, contrasting sharply with the typical cometary and asteroidal bodies. Conceptually linked to the Negretto phase, Oumuamua signifies transformation and the unknown, embodying the alchemical principles of dissolution and rebirth. Borisov, our first confirmed interstellar comet. Borisov displays typical cometary characteristics, such as a pronounced tail and coma, making it relatable and easy to understand. As the first interstellar comet confirmed by astronomers, Borisov represents a significant milestone in our understanding of cosmic visitors. The comet's distinct trajectory highlights its interstellar origin, contrasting sharply with the more predictable paths of solar system comets. 3I Atlas, interstellar pattern. The discovery of 3I Atlas reveals a growing trend of interstellar objects passing through our solar system, indicating a cosmic connection. Increased recognition of these visitors offers insight into the dynamic nature of our universe and its expanding borders beyond our understanding. The integration of interstellar studies into mainstream science normalizes these phenomena, inviting deeper exploration into their origins and implications for humanity. Interstellar is not a feeling, it is a calculation. Eccentricity greater than 1, the mathematical signature of an unbound trajectory. Excess velocity, the speed beyond what our sun's gravity can account for, and backward integration, tracing the object's path through space and time to confirm it came from elsewhere. These are empirical validations. If an object is bound, it loops back. If it is unbound, it does not. It enters. It passes through. It leaves. This is not speculation. It is observation. And observation carries implication. Interstellar objects are physical samples from elsewhere in the galaxy. Not radio signals, not metaphors. They are evidence that the cosmos is not sealed, that our solar system is not an isolated bubble, but part of a larger circulation of matter, motion, and meaning. A living pattern that communicates through the flow of meaning. For those with eyes to see and ears to listen. We are that conversation, and what appears in the sky is a reflection of what stirs in the depths of the human soul. Our solar system is not merely a home, it is a shoreline, and from time to time, something washes in. In the ancient world, the strange visitor on the horizon was the goddess Venus, the morning and evening star, a sign of love, fate, and cyclical return. Across history, such visitors were never interpreted as random. They were signs, messengers, threshold markers, Venus, comets, wandering stars. Not as superstition, but as symbolic intelligence emerging at moments of transition. When cosmic meaning disappears from conscious perception, It does not vanish. It returns through the psyche. Now this is where observation meets interpretation. Rudolf Steiner, writing in the early 20th century, described a future epoch, the fifth post-Atlantean age, when humanity would need to consciously remember its relationship to the living cosmos, not as superstition, not as folklore, but as direct spiritual perception grounded in disciplined inner development. Carl Jung later observed that when cosmic meaning is no longer consciously perceived, it returns through the psyche, as symbol, as dream, as archetype. He saw UFOs not as spaceships, but as projected mandalas, wholeness symbols, arising in a fragmented age, not because the psyche is irrational, but because it is compensatory. Symbols of wholeness, mandalas, luminous forms, circular apparitions, arise when a culture fragments internally. And today, we encounter similar forms again. At the edge of our instruments, at the edge of our interpretations, at the edge of our capacity to integrate meaning. That same encounter appears at the edges of our sky, as phenomena we can measure, but not yet fully interpret. This is not coincidence, it is correspondence. This is the spine of the series. Orientation, interpretation, activation. The threefold threshold. In myth, the stranger from beyond the boundary is never meaningless. Sometimes the stranger is Hermes, the messenger who crosses worlds. Sometimes Hecate, guarding the thresholds of crossroads, torch raised, guiding souls through the dark and into unknown territory. Sometimes the trickster, sometimes the angel. The stranger embodies both challenge and wisdom, inviting exploration of deeper self-knowledge through transformative encounters with the unknown. When the ego's worldview is too narrow, the unconscious compensates. It sends images of wholeness, images that insist the world is larger than the current map. This is not reduction, this is remembrance. The stranger from beyond carries a message, not in language, but in presence. There are three distinct categories that often get mixed. Interstellar objects, verified by orbital mechanics. UAP reports, unidentified means unresolved. And consciousness frameworks, meaning-making lenses. Collapsing these categories does not deepen understanding, it obscures it. Halo's ethic is simple. We honor mystery without surrendering discernment. And so, the threefold task. Orientation, understanding where we stand. Interpretation, discerning what we are encountering. And integration, allowing meaning to transform consciousness, not overwhelm it. This is not about answers. It is about responsibility. A threshold event is something, anything, that enters your life that is no longer bound to your old orbit. A realization, a disruption, a relationship, a question you can no longer ignore. Interstellar visitors symbolize inner disruption, forces that challenge our psychological boundaries and compel us to confront parts of ourselves we may be unaware of or avoiding. These cosmic phenomena act as catalysts for shadow work, prompting introspection and self-discovery. This work is not distant. It is not abstract. It is already happening within the psyche, within our culture, within the cosmos. The only question is whether we meet it prepared. The Stargate embodies the gateway between cosmological mysteries and the transformative journey of the soul through alchemical processes. This transformation invites us to reflect on our beliefs, ultimately guiding our inner work towards profound personal evolution and awareness. What must dissolve? So how does this apply to your life today? Spiritual awakening is not a spectator sport. It requires practice, integration, and embodiment. And there are 3 pathways to begin. Archetypal journaling prompts. What threshold am I standing at right now? What am I being called to release? And what am I being called to become? 2. Meditation on the Omega Gate. What part of me is ready to pass through? And finally, number 3. Daily practice of discernment. Prepared mind or unprepared mind. The mysteries are not distant. They are here. The only question is, are we prepared? Welcome to the threshold. This episode opens the container because once the universe is known to be open, the soul can no longer pretend it is sealed. Next, we enter Negretto, the phase of descent, where certainty dissolves and the old identity cannot survive intact. Thank you for standing with me at the threshold. This is Halo Intelligence.
Before we close, I did want to name the larger arc of this series clearly, and that is alchemy, or spiritual science, which is anthroposophy as a disciplined approach to consciousness esoteric studies. Alchemy is a way of understanding personal change, a process of self-discovery, inner knowing, and transformation. And it gives us a kind of language and map for navigating moments when life feels uncertain, dissolving, or in transition, like many of us feel now. A language for transformation that has followed humanity across myths, symbols, and inner experience. This season is structured around those stages, not as abstract ideas, but as lived processes we all move through, especially during these turbulent times. My intention with this series is to help you recognize where you are in the process and learn how to move through change with awareness, courage, and trust in the transformation unfolding. And episode 0 marks the threshold, which is the moment before descent. In alchemy, this is Negretto, the darkening, the dissolving of old forms, and the feeling of not knowing what comes next. If that feels familiar right now, you are not alone, and you are not lost. Each episode will explore a different phase of this transformation through cosmology, psychology, mythology, and lived human experience. We're not here to escape the darkness, but to learn how transformation actually happens within it. Thank you for spending this time with me. This space is for asking questions, for memory and remembrance, for wonder, and for simply being present with what's unfolding. I know these are uncertain times, and you don't have to walk them alone. Halo Intelligence is an ongoing exploration, and I'm genuinely excited for what's ahead. There are better things unfolding before us than anything we're leaving behind. Until next time, stay curious, stay open, and I'll see you beyond the threshold.